okay. And of course, you can't see my. Oh, that would be helpful if I did that. There we go. And there I am. Here I is. Here I is. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Friday. Um, you're so. One second. There we go. That's a little better. Um, you're gonna hear some noise in the background. We have painters above us. I have painters walking in and out through my front door. Um, I guess they're doing the edges of the floor, replacing some of the soffit. For those of you who are like, hey, he should have had white windows or white walls. Um, like most projects, you have dependencies, and if the resources aren't available, the timeline stretches. So my office has been moved to Saturday, not confidentially, I think Sunday, um, because not enough people to do all of the work in the necessary amount of time, which is, sometimes typical of projects, especially complicated ones. So, um, okay, okay. Oh yeah, I love San Diego. Oh, yeah. So happy to be back. Sorry, I found an affinity group at my workplace for San Diego, so I introduced myself to them, and now the people in the San Diego area offices are like, "Hey, good, be back." Live in Scripps, Poway. Very happy. So very happy to get legit San Diego cuisine. There we go. All right. So, hello everybody. Hope you're here. If you're here for Go, yes, we will be doing some Go. I've got the last bits queued up in W3 schools, and then I wanted to go through and I have some videos actually. So I'm splitting the difference here. I have some stuff on my laptop for like being able to build a nice, simple web browser, or not web browser, but API. And they talk about building a simple API in Go, and there's some. Let me move some stuff over. There we go. Looking pretty. And so we're gonna let me see if I can pull that up. Simple API in Go. So I made some comments, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, a couple Fridays ago, about the the want of myself to understand how an API works, and in my brain, I'm like, do people really know how all of the dependencies work in an API, or is it just you blow a couple of modules and packages inside a bunch of scripts and then you just continue on moving through? Uh, okay. There you go. And so I was doing some research, and it was building a RESTful API with Golang. We'll probably be walking through some of this here. There we go. And it talks about you need like version Go 1.11, so 1.11 or higher on your development machine, and it walks you through getting started with a basic API. And so there's a couple of modules you have to put in, or a couple packages. I don't want to use the terms interchangeably because I don't believe they are. There's packages that you need. Yeah. And then they get pretty granular there. So let me see. Go back. Yeah, creating a simple web server with Golang, and then there's you keep going back, and you keep going back and keep going back, and the funny thing is I'm looking at these Go tutorials on how to build a basic web server, build an API, and go, oh, I can read that. Oh, I understand that part. Oh. So it's kind of cool that I'm not completely understanding, but I can point out like where the functions are, where main is, that these are areas where we're pulling in information or where we're expecting information, etc. So so yeah, I mean, it's just all up in the air right now. Got toilets flushing on the shared wall over here. People grinding stuff outside. So hope you'll be patient with my 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 work here today. So we'll try to bust out another 90 minutes or 2 hours here of good content. And let me get my VS Code up. It did ask me to update Go today to 1.20.1.windows.1. My guess is that there was some kind of fix that only affected Windows, and then it was like, oh crap, we didn't do a very good job. We need to patch that one. So Go 1.20.1.go Windows.1, which is really weird version numbers. So all right, let me pop over. There we go. All right, make sure I got some room for all of our stuff. We are officially, and I'm going to shrink my window because I realized I don't need to be so pretty in my window. Oh, there's another Go update. What the hell? 1.20.1. Oh, okay. Oh, 1.20.2. Okay, so 1.20.1.windows.go, whatever, didn't work. Now we're up to, they just said, screw it, we're just going to go to the .2 version. So I'm going to go ahead and run that, open, and we're going to, I don't know why I have to go here to pull this down, but I'm going to go ahead and pull that down. One of the first things that you learn when you're streaming, which is anathema to security people, they tell you don't ever patch your stuff in the middle of a stream, and don't patch your stuff. Actually, one of the streamers had mentioned, they said don't patch your stuff. Period. Once it works, don't futz with it. And I'm like, yeah, I can't do that. So right now, what you can't see is it's got the Go programming. Welcome to Go. It's computing size requirements for the site. I'm going to go ahead and update and restart VS Code. I'm using insiders, so it doesn't update as often, but it does tend to ask those. So it does tend to ask for updates like that. So boy, it's taking its sweet ass time. There we go. Previous version of Go is currently installed. By continuing the installation, this version will be uninstalled. You want to continue? Yes. Then you accept the license. I found that interesting. I don't remember ever having to do that with, like when I used Active Perl or when I was doing Python and Windows or whatever. It would either install the new version of Python next to the older versions, but I've never seen it where it was like, yeah, we're going to completely uninstall Go for you and reinstall the new version. It's like, we don't want you putting the new with the old and crossing the streams and what have you. I assume that you could set a new installation directory if you wanted to, but it makes a lot more sense to just uninstall the old version and use the new version. There we go. Yes. Do you want to install the recommended extensions for this repository? No. Visual Studio Code Dev Containers. I do not know what that is. Let's see. Dev container extension unless you use a Docker container as a full-featured deployment environment. Ooh. I heard something. I don't know if you're lurking or you're watching. Somebody had mentioned that Docker is changing its licensing or something. There was something about yeah. So Docker license changes in 2023. This was published on 31 Jan. They're saying we've discovered Docker desktop licenses and we'll share every detail with you. Where was it? They were mentioning somebody was unhappy because it was going to be bad for open source. Like people were like, you couldn't use the community versions or the oh no, I know what it was. The Docker catalog, I think is what it was. That's what it was. Docker catalog. Yeah, I seem to think that you actually would have to buy access to the Docker catalog. I wish I'd saved the link for that, but yeah, it was interesting that this pops up at the same time, and it's like, I don't see a need for that. I do not need an extension pack for Java. Thank you very much. And I do not need that. All right, so we'll go to Explorer. I'm going to create a new folder, not in there. Okay. Let me see. Scroll up. New folder. I'm going to call it. What was the new old one here? No. This is the site I just posted up in Tutorial Edge talking about, basic APIs. Walt says, "Hey Walt, we had to move from free Docker desktop to paid Docker so we could use it at work." Yeah, I can't that rings a bell too, but I seem to remember somebody saying, like unless you bought a subscription or you had to pay for a license, you couldn't use like the official Docker repo. And I don't know if I saw that in Reddit or what. Now you make me want to go look it up. But I was looking at something and I seem to remember that, and somebody said, "Oh yeah, you could just point your repos to that." And let me see, where was it? Docker Hub replacement strategy and options. Yeah, yeah, yeah. With Docker Hub moving away from its free tier and potential for future shenanigans, people are looking to move away from them for free and personal use. Um, yeah, there seems to be a couple of straightforward solutions. So yeah, there's Docker Hub is going away. That's okay. I don't live in that world, so yeah, it was a Docker Hub kind of thing. Uh, Lady P, oh sure, just start early. Well, Lady P, you may not want to be on. I've got the paint dudes out here at my hydrant of flooding my wall, my yard. I've got painters going on. I'm huffing paint. I'm seeing like colored toads floating around and shit. You, whoa, the schnozberries taste like schnozberries. Um, what? Oh no. Okay, now, oh, easy. Okay, I'm sorry, Lady P. Oh, okay, you got here a little late. Yes, the walls were supposed to be a different color. As I had mentioned, like the first thing in the VOD here. Um, oh, Age of Music. Hey, yes, I know. Look, Lady P, I have no control over the resources or the project right now, and they were supposed to be down here painting on this today, and it got moved to Saturday. It may get moved to Sunday. We're going to record BreakSec on Sunday night, so I may still have the same colors. You know what? If it were me, I would just be leaving it alone, but realtors like boring ass colors. I would leave it like this. We got it like this. We should leave it like this. But thank you, Age of Music, for the table flip. I appreciate that. Um, yes, my it was it is what it is. So uh, yeah, it happened. So yeah, Docker Hub. Docker Hub is going, yeah, Docker Hub, yeah, 1 month to pay up or get out. Yeah, here's the link. Okay, yeah, 1 month to pay or refreeze your account images. So Docker has apologized for the way it's communicated its scrapping of free accounts for teams. It sought to clarify the situation to mea culpa. Most importantly, the container company said public images will only be removed from the Docker Hub if their maintainer decides to delete them. Some software developers remain unhappy with the changes, obviously. And then, so there you go. So yeah, there you go. I wish it was excuses, but you can't. Yeah, unflip that table. There you go. There you go, Lady P. Thanks so much. Yeah, I mean, we my daughter's room was finished on Wednesday. Yesterday was our guest room, which you've never seen. It is like purple. It had purple walls. I mean, it was like very purple walls. And Mine's the only original wall painting left at this point. So yeah, Lady P, I like the interesting colors too. Unfortunately, Karen like realtors do not like that. They say white gives the appearance of space and looks boring as shit. So I'm going to remedy that when we get to the new place. My new office in San Diego has white walls, so I'll be having like, all the cool Twitch streamer, LED lights that'll change color. So it'll have different colors on the walls. It'll just change to my mood. So yeah, there you go. Dockers, yeah, exactly. I actually like the warmth of my room. This was in the before owner. This was the formal dining room, and we actually live in the formal living room. They apparently only lived upstairs and used the kitchen. They, we've got pictures of this place, and you could definitely tell this was like super formal. They had a wine refrigerator and stuff, and yeah, just you know, now the realtors are calling this flex space because it could be dining room, it could be an office, it could be, whatever. So I've got to stage my office for, being an office instead of a flex space. So yeah, eating them into could be a broadcast studio, could be. I mean, ideally what's going to happen when people see our so I have what is today? Today's the 17th. In 2 weeks we'll be showing this house as one of the open houses. And the idea is that I'm supposed to stage my office. And so I'll leave this stuff up. Hopefully, I don't come on my stream ranting that somebody stole my freaking SLR and stuff. But yeah, so we're gonna be showing this house the 1st of April, the 2nd of April, and then they want the 8th of April. So Um, unfortunately, the economic downturn means we're not going to sell our house for 1.2 million like we thought. We're probably going to be lucky to get 850 to 900,000 out of it. But we bought it for 417, so you know we're going to make a little bit of profit. All right. I don't know why this is not updating. Let me close that and restart it. It may just be okay. Go is at 1.20.2, as you can see down here, and there's no Go update. So now we're setting up and loading packages. Golang tutorial. Click. I need I think I did structs already, so we're gonna be on apps. Yeah, I got structs down here. And I think we did all of the structs. And of course, structs, for those of you who weren't here last week, a struct is a structure used to collect members of different data types into a single variable. So a struct, an array, a slice, they're all kind of the same in that they collect data and they have an index, right? So in this case, as we saw before, you have a struct or structure. I can't struct. Hmm. Um, so hey, yeah, no kidding, Lady P. I was like, maybe because I'm an internet celebrity, that it would, add to the value of the house. Like, Brad Pitt lived here at one time. It'd be like Brian Brake from Breaksec Podcast and Stream lived here, and apparently my wife doesn't share the same opinion that that I bring value to the house. I don't know. So anyway, you can set up a type, and you can put yeah, exactly, Lady P. That's what I said. The breaks. Yes, 100%. Exactly. I must bring tens of dollars of new value to the house by just having my presence and having lived here. But no, apparently not. Um, so yeah, you can collect different struct types. You can specify different data types depending on that, and then you can call them. And we did that here where we were calling up, different specifications. You can assign those by different types. So in this case, person struct, and then the variable pers1, and then each person in this case. So you set the variable pers1 to use the person struct. So it's looking for pers1, pers2. You can go pers3, pers500, pers5200. Oh, Lady P, that hurts. That hurts. It doesn't smell like nerd. It smells like awesome. That's what it smells like. It smells like patchouli oil and weed, or no, not weed. Patchouli oil maybe, but the break sec, Age of Music. You know what? You are awesome. You are awesome, Age of Music. I appreciate you. But yeah, so your struct, basically tells it, what four values is looking for. You can obviously modify this and add additional if you want to. There's obviously, you could definitely automate this, or make structs that will take input from forms. You could also take those structs and collect that information and then put it into a database. It definitely makes sense there. So and then of course you format the print out, and you pers to.name. So you have your variable, and then you pick the field that you want to pull out. So name, age, job, salary. I think I actually created one additional called town in my script over here. So each one had their own town. If you use some kind of janky HR, system, you might actually have something like this where you're adding a new person or adding a new struct every time to make that happen. And so let's make sure passing structs as function arguments. Okay, yes, import FMT, right? Okay, so right, it's a data structure. Yep. And then pers1info calling a function. So print person, pers person. Okay, so what this did was make it easy. By you can call a function which then says, populate these lines, so you don't have to keep doing this over and over and over like this. You don't have to add, do format line prints. You can have a function that says, when I call a specific person, or call pers specific person, then it will just enumerate out all those systems. So you get, hedge, all of those. It'll basically dump the database for all intents and purposes, and dump everything that's in all of the different um, uh, PERs, or users in this case. You could call it users 1, users 2, users 3, users 500, users 1,000,000, etc. So, all right, let me go up and make my maps. I should have created this one beforehand, but I didn't. So there we go. Other languages call the classes and bind code methods to them. Go is keeping it simple by allowing for the data without requiring methods. Okay. Makes sense. Oh, I think they're done. They're carrying stuff out. Excellent. Close that. And we're going to maps. And we're going to create a new maps. Go. There we go. All right. Close that because I don't need all of that. And we're going to make this a little bigger so everybody can see. There we go. All right. So maps. Maps are not maps like, cartography kind of maps. Maps are used to store data values in key value pairs. Okay, so key value pairs would be similar to how JSON format is, where you have, brand, Ford, model, Mustang, year 1964. You might use this for, for like, exporting data out, or um, uh, importing data in such a way so that it would go into not a typical database like a NoSQL or something like that uses key value pairs. So like a NoSQL key value pairs. God damn you. Key value pair. Key value database. There we go. Images. Yeah, so you've got something similar here where you have a key value pair where your street is wow, and then you know have another street that's very similar. Let me see, different key value pairs. Here's another one where bands, you got the band name, you got the band ID, and then you have almost like metadata underneath. I'd imagine, well, if that's the case, maybe the CDDB is that way. There you go. Here's another one: vehicle number, trip ID, route number, direction, destination, pattern, etc., etc., etc. Almost like a comma separated values, but you know, the idea is you have it in a certain format so that way you can collect that and store it properly and retrieve it later, presumably. So let's see. Let's move that over. Close that out. All right, so I'm gonna turn on some music, just a little bit of chat. That's chill hop music. So you know, a little background music here. If it's too loud, let me know. Um, you may not even be able to hear it, and that's okay. All right, so if you can hear that, it's not too bad. All right, so we're gonna go to our mapping here. So this is an example of how to create maps in Go. And so we have our package main. We're gonna import FMT. One of the things we'll look at during, you know, if we have time, I want to go through some of the initial modules, you know, when you're importing these things or, sorry, packages. FMT package is actually available. There's a number of specific modules involved in Go. And when you download Go, they're in the Go uh, installation. And so we'll look at like FMT and we'll look at some of the other ones as well and kind of break those down. Because ideally, what I'd love to do when I build my APIs to understand what is in FMT, what does FMT do, what is net/HTTP do, you know, what are all these ones that we're including in. I don't know if it'll make me a better developer or a better programmer, but it would be nice to know what ingredients are in my cake when I go and build the cake or bake the cake. So, all right, so let me move some stuff here. There we go. We're gonna package main. We're gonna import MFT, which, as I have begun to learn, is more like a style sheet kind of thing than I can type it. It is more of a style sheet than a package. It just kind of tells you how things are going to be rendered or how you know it's a it just uh, makes the data representation better or simplifies things. So function main, single quote, and then var a equals map, and then we're going to create map string. That's not the right one. There we go. And then string again. And then that. And then we're going to go brand Ford model Mustang. I'm going to move that over because I cannot see. There we go. Okay, model Mustang, year 1964. Okay, and then close. And then B, and then we're doing the walrus. So at this point, it's going to make guesses based on how the data is formatted, right? The walrus, you don't have to say var B in this case, like you did with var A, where you're going to have to, you know, figure out it's a string in this case. So B map, okay. Well, that's kind of interesting though, because it does call out the fact that it is an int for Oh, it's looking, okay, so it's going to put an int. Okay, that makes sense. Okay. Int. There we go. Oslo. Yeah, I know it's not capitalized. I apologize to all of you from Oslo watching. One. Bergen. Actually been to Bergen. I think we visited Bergen in our last cruise. So that was pretty sweet. Trondheim. Didn't do Trondheim. Three. And Stavanger. Stavanger. And curly braces. Get rid of that last one. Then we're going to FMT, printf, a, %t, or %v, n, then a. Then FMT, printf, and then b. And so what these are doing is this is just formatting things, right? So the \t is a tab, %v, which the output, under the outputs, yeah, you see the slash or \ends is a new line. It's pretty much most escape characters that you might see in some scripts. Let's see where there was a list somewhere. Formatting verbs. There we go. So %v in this case, like we see in the script, %v prints the value in the default format. So you have %v, %%, which prints the percent sign. Here we go. So these are the different formatting for integers. So it's expecting an integer to be outputted from A and B in this case, because %v. So, all right, let me go back to maps. Make sure we get everything typed out proper. B. All right, and then get rid of that. So that should be good. So v \t %v \n, close them. A \t %v/n. Okay, so it's going to tab and then give you the value of what A and V is. So it should be, say, integer, right? Or it'll give you, okay. So there's the output on the bottom there, where you see the brand, Ford, model, Mustang, year 1964. Okay, so we will go ahead and save this. And then I will start up the terminal. There we go. And we're going to go cd maps. And we're going to go run maps.go. And yeah, there we go. So it printed out the contents of the maps. So brand, Ford, model, Mustang, year 1964, Bergen, Oslo, Stavanger, Trondheim, Stavanger, something like that. Oh, sorry, screwed that up. All right, let me move that over a little bit. Oh, I have to move it over on the screen as well. Oh, damn it. All right, there we go. Move that over. Oh, I didn't know I did that. Okay. Come on, you. Well, that's unfortunate. Okay. So it cuts off at 1964, but that's the last thing there. We just made sure that everything was. Oh, there we go. Yeah, you see that right there. It's probably because I made the font size just a little bit bigger for everybody. All right. So what happened there? We printed out var, and we printed out var A and var B, and it just I don't want to say just, it dumped the contents of the maps into the format because we asked it to print A and we asked it to print B, and so it printed both of those. So printed A, and then there's the A, and then the map of that, so of A. So it actually printed legitimately the whole context of this, but in the with proper formatting, minus all the double quotes and everything. So I'm not sure why you'd want to print out like the map function right here. Maybe just to show you everything that was in there and how it will be um, modeled. Was there anything that it didn't print? Let me see. Brand model year, brand model year. Okay, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm wondering why it did it. Did it do it in alphabetical order? I think so. I think it did this one in alphabetical order. I wonder what would have happened if we'd had multiple brands like Ford, Kia, Tesla. Would it have been Ford, Kia, Tesla, or would it have mixed them up? I don't know. But I mean, this makes the most sense. It did them in alphabetical order. So yeah, I'm not sure why it did that. You would have thought it would have done it in the same order, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, but it didn't. Okay. Maybe we'll find out as we go down. The order of the map elements defined in code is different from the way they're stored. The data are stored. Interesting. So they're using a plural for data. The data are stored in a way to have efficient data retrieval from the map. What what is efficient for them though? That's interesting. Okay. Creating maps using the make function. Okay, so the syntax is make, and then so we're adding more values here. So you have make, map, key type, value type, and 1 second. There we go. Was exceeding my encoding value. So var a. So we have the walrus again. We're making a map, key type, value type. So in this case, we have the map is empty now, and then A is no longer empty. Okay. Well, I'm going to make another. No, that's not what I wanted. Thank you very much. Maps 2. Since this is the last ones we're going to be doing, I don't feel bad about just completely yanking and making my stuff janky. So I would suggest not doing this like this, but I don't have any better way of doing it. So I'm just going to continue doing it this way. Just trying to not have the errors with the mains, and trying to make things work between two scripts, because what I was doing in earlier scripts will probably may not work in other ones. So all right, this example shows how to create maps in Go using the make function. All right, so we're going to create. This is really odd. Why would they show you two different ways of doing something? Yeah, I know. There's more than one way of doing it. So I get it. So you're declaring a map and showing the format of it. So string and string. And then in the A map, the string is brand, and you're setting brand equal to Ford. So almost like, it's really weird stuff. I'm not because the output is going to be the same as when you get it down at the bottom. It's the same output that we had from the original script. There's just a different way of declaring it. So yeah, after you've done the initial bits here, A is no longer empty. It will be empty there. So when you initialize this one will be empty until you give it data. And you're telling it to fill B with these values and this integer. So you're setting Oslo, which will be this string, equal to 1. So, and that's the index in this case. So Oslo has an index of 1, Bergen has an index of 2, Trondheim has an index of 3. I guess you could set maps. Could you make maps with indexes of true or false or floats? I would hope not. I would hope not. You could also potentially set strings to strings because you were doing that up here, right? So maybe it's just strings and ints and not floats and booleans. So interesting. Okay, so this is yet another way of doing it. It makes less sense to me, but that's probably because I haven't built a struct before or a map before like that. So, all right, so let's create an empty map. There are two ways to create an empty map. One by using the make function, and the other is by using the following syntax. So we're going to var a. We've already done that. We did that earlier. And you do that here. So you're setting your values for A to make map types and value types. Values in a map are stored to map retrieval fast. Many languages don't define how they're stored internally unless it says ordered in the name. Also, the internal order is often not guaranteed to be the same as the items are added. See, so Walt, for me, the logical person, or whatever logical part of me is left, if I put it in 1, 2, 3, 4, I expect on the output to be 1, 2, 3, 4, unless I myself format it in such a way as to tell it I don't want it in 1, 2, 3, 4 format or what have you. You know, if you're expecting a specific format like 1, 2, 3, 4, you know, it seems to me alphabetical would be something that I would define myself, and I don't believe I set that here. I set here's a tab, here's a V, which is the value, which would be 4, and then the new line, and then B. So yeah, I don't know. I'm sure they have a method to the madness, and I just haven't figured out what that is yet. So all right, so oh, okay, so we can allow booleans. So allowed key types, a map key, which is in this case map key, all right, key type, can be a map key can be of any data type which the equality operator is defined. These include booleans, numbers, strings, arrays, pointers, structs, and interfaces. So everything builds up to maps. Everything can be put into a map, basically. It can be it's the junk drawer of Go in this case. It can collect all kinds of stuff. Interfaces, as long as the dynamic type supports equality. Okay. Invalid types. Oh, not everything. Okay, so we can have everything but slices, which is odd because arrays are slices. So there's a good use case if you're like, hey, I'm going to use an array, or I'm going to use a slice. Well, are you using maps? Oh yeah, I can't use a slice in an array. So, or I can't use a slice in a map. You can't use a map in a map. That's interesting. And I guess that makes sense why you can't use a function inside of a map, because it's an executable part of the code. Jesus, man, I don't know what the hell's going on with me. And of course these types are invalid because the equality operator equals is not defined for them. Okay. The map values can be of any type. So, yeah, booleans, numbers. Here's an example. So we have Many systems use a system so that the value of any key can be found with one lookup. This is faster than doing it alphabetically. Okay. Hmm. All right. So we're going to package main, import FMT, function main. So var a, we're going to make a map called a. So func main, then var a equals make map string. All right. So we've done that, and we'll make an empty a map called a. So a brand. Oh, whoops. Hey, Bloodbound, what's up? Went to the gym and I can barely commit to a 180-degree angle with my arms. The muscles close to the front part of my armpits twitching and the muscle above both of my knees cramping, and it's scaring the crap out of me. It hurts. Well, I try not to overdo it if at all possible. But it's been a minute since I've been to a gym. I've got good old home gym right here. Well, Lady P, I can't argue with that kind of data point. Exercise is bad for you. It does all kinds of awful things to your body and makes it all twitchy and what have you. Yeah, I'm going to not worry about the gym for the next 110 days or so, and then when we get to San Diego, apparently the office that we have in San Diego has a gym. Also, there's an LA Fitness near me, so that's pretty cool too. And so I'll probably go back to the gym at that point in some capacity, just to so I can pump hot iron, get the big iron here, make it go, get all diesel and stuff, because we'll be right in the middle of speedo weather, and I got to have my speedos, so that's the way it works. Apparently, I'm not allowed to have a speedo either. So, all right. So Mustang. Actually, I didn't hate looking at the new E-Stangs that they have. I was very interested in understanding those and seeing if they were worth the effort. I would say the first version of the E-Stang I'm gonna probably nope out on. Um, I will say the Hyundai's the Ioniq 6, I was almost tempted to get one, but then it was like found out that apparently Hyundai has some issues being really easy to break into and steal, and I was like, well, I hope that doesn't translate to the EVs, but I was just wanted to when the Kia, or no, when the Hyundai of Poway kept emailing me over and over and over again asking if I wanted to, talk about their cars. I got turned off real quick and said, no, it's changed. I'm going to stick with my Tesla for now. And yeah, so that's what happened. So, all right. So I've generated up the map. And so what we have is right now, the only thing we have in there, the only single record in this case, and I'm going to call it a record because I don't know any different. The only record we have is Ford Mustang 1964, and what we're doing is we're asking for the brand, right? So the brand in this case, when this runs and we did it correctly, should say Ford. So let's see. Oh, wait, let's save it. Save. All right, go. Run. Maps 2. Uh-oh. Oh, I see. Well, that's because I didn't. Okay. Oh, maps, maps, multiple maps. There we go. Go run. Good Lord, I suck. There we go. And it should say Ford. There we go. So it does. It says Ford. I could change this to model and run it again. And it should give me Mustang. All right. Do you see the Riven mistake? I don't know. Trucks go stuck. Trucks get stuck in an update or reboot loop. Ran the battery to empty. Then the truck could not be opened. Had to be towed. I did not see that. What was it? Update loop. Who's trying to get IT certified? This guy. I'm going to do CyberSec 1 and I guess network hardware understanding like cert. Um, so Bloodbound, what IT system are you going to? Which IT certification body are you going to be going to? Like EC Group? Are you going to do the CompTIA stuff, or are you going to do what was one of the other ones? A plus is usually like the gold standard, but what's your body? Comp? Okay, CompTIA. Yeah. That makes sense. And I think it's probably good to diversify, because no telling when your certification organization is going to go and do something god awful like ISC squared, and ruin your cert forever. So I have some SAN stuff. I got some ISC squared stuff. I got ProSci for change management. I've got the Agile Scrum Alliance. I've got all kinds of stuff. So some of those are probably going to expire in a couple of years, and I'm not going to renew them, like the GCIH and the GWAP. But yeah, I really want to keep my change management. Well, the change management one's kind of forever, but the Agile Scrum Master and Product Owner ones, I kind of do want to keep. So so you can add something. So we can insert. Let me see. So you can add and update an element. Interesting. Updating an element year 1970. So this is all right. So that's cool. So println A. So what we're going to do with this one this time is we're going to println. Oh, interesting. So we're just going to print line A. So it's going to print the contents of A in this case. So that's what it's going to do. Model 1964 Mustang Ford brand. And then we're going to do some poor man's crud operations by adding an updated tag. So we screwed up, and we thought it was a 1964, which would have meant that we had some great investment, and instead it's a 1970 and probably hot garbage now because there were so many of those. I don't know that. I'm not a car person. Why do you think I have a Tesla? I don't change the oil in my car or the windshield wiper fluid. So, you know, okay. And then that. And then red. So we're going to update the date from 1964 to 1970. So let's see, 1964 Ford Mustang. That's what that looks like. So here's a blue one, like my Tesla. There you go. There's one right next to a graveyard. Weird. Okay, creepy. And then the difference, 1970. Oh yeah, you can see there's the difference. Ooh, swanky. Yeah, they got a bit rounder and a bit larger and a bit more wheelie. Or so duplicate the tab, and then I'll hit back on this one to show the difference between the 64 and the 70. There we go. So yeah, I mean, huge difference. You got the little, I think it's a rag top or something. Yeah, huge difference. What amazing 6 years can make, in terms of that. So, all right, so we're doing some CRUD operations. We're updating, we're deleting. You can delete, I would imagine. I'm sure they'll tell. Yeah, see, removing an element from the map, which down at the bottom. So we'll figure that out. And then what we want to do after the fact is we'll just rerun this again so we can see what exactly happens. So Control S. Now we're going to run this again. Close that now. And so this was the first line, and then we've added a new line. And it's funny, so it did not put the color at the end where you would have thought it would have put it like right after the year. It put it in between the brand and the model. So, okay, so yeah, it looks like it's alphabetical. So B, C, M, Y. So it's doing in alphabetical order. There's probably a method to that madness. I guess it doesn't matter how you put it in, just as long as you've got all of the things represented. But I mean, you could probably. I'm imagining somebody smart enough to force it, where there's an option to force it to do something different. Maybe we'll see that as we scroll down. So, all right, so we're going to remove element from the map. Removing elements is done using the delete function. In this case, so now we have a 1964 Mustang. We're going to continue using this version here. I'm going to remove these bits. And so now we just delete, then A and year. And then we're going to println again. All right, so what should happen then is the only two things we'll get is Ford and Mustang. And that's probably better, when we do our Kelley Blue Book, we just want to look for Ford Mustang and get an aggregate amount instead of, finding out how many thousands of dollars we've lost. So there you go. You got, used to be Ford Mustang 1964, now it's just Ford Mustang. So if I called this X brand, the brand, it would move, right? So let me do this again. S, save it. So the brand should come after now because X is the last, is later than M. So yeah, there you go. You got Mustang, X brand, Ford. So yeah, there we go. All right. Checking for specific element in the map. You can check if a certain key exists in the map using value. Okay. There's a walrus map name key. Okay, so value okay. I don't know what the okay is for. Does okay mean okay, like I'm okay, or no? Okay to variable is used to find out whether the key exists or not. In this example, we check for the existence of different keys in the map. The key color does not exist, so the value is an empty string. The OK2 variable is used to find out if the key exists or not, because we would have gotten the same value if the value of the colored key was empty. This is the case for val3. Okay. It's really interesting. I imagine you can use anything here, but all right, so we have okay, so we have okay, so it's going to check for a non-existing key and value. wanted. New folder. Maps 3. And then new file. All right. So we have package main, import fmt, func main, var a equals map curly brackets. All right, we're just okay. So interesting. So I'm going to do a little cheat here. Just copy paste. So what we've done is we have brand Ford model Mustang year 1964. Day is blank. I'm not sure why you would want the day, which is kind of interesting. 1 second. What's going on Popular? That is what's up? Oh, I can go listen to it now. Yeah. Okay. Like right now? Okay. All right. It'll be available. uh, I'm going to halt for a few seconds here. I'm not going to stop the stream. I think we can continue talking, but I have to order dinner. So let's see, North Bend. How's everybody's week been? I can't lie. I've had worse. I mean, even with all, I mean, we've moved everything around. We're sleeping on a memory foam mattress on our floor because we got rid of our bed. Which is actually better because some of our kitties are not as young as they should have been, not as young as they used to be. So they're able to get up on the bed with us and sleep more. So it's kind of nice that they can do that, which I'm all in on. Been making training out the ass, and now I found out I have to create curriculum at work, not only for our security review process and for the people who are going to be certifying the security review, but for the people who are using it as the owner of like applications that we're going to have to go through the process, because the new process is so foreign that they're not going to be, obviously there's going to be like, oh no, it's unknown and I'm afraid and I'm just a PM and I don't know what I'm doing. So I'm going to have to create some curriculum to train the reviewers and also the owners of the applications when they go through the process. So um, I'm not hating it, which is interesting. And I think I've mentioned this more than once to some people on Slack and in Discord, but it's like my worlds are colliding here, and this is great. So I'm really enjoying this. So I have to order some food. So give me a second here. Do 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 do. Pickup orders will be ready in about 15 minutes. Okay. All right. So I need. Hey, Bloodbound, where do you go to work out at? If you're still on, I mean, let's see, gyro. I want a gyro. Yeah. No onions because they use red onions. Ooh, bacon. You can put bacon on a gyro, by the way. Yeah, that's right. All right, added that to my cart. No thanks. We need a gyro salad. And we need extra meat. Yeah, that works. Yeah, we want extra mega meat. No So, but yeah, it's interesting. You know, the you bacon, I love it. So there's a what was it? Was it a bacon waffle? I think I saw that on like the Food Network or something. They were like, "This is the best way to make your bacon," and it was like you like lace it up like you've got a lattice work, and then you shove it in a, a waffle iron, and then you just cook it crispy, um, which I found very interesting and probably worth it. So, oh, there it is. Let me see, Euro sandwich, Euro meat, close. Let me just remake that. Yes, delete it. Close. Order online. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. Salads. Salad. Extra meat. No olives. Ugh. And I think that was it. Okay. Add to cart. Okay. And then we need some spanakopita. I'm not worried about it not being warm when we get home because they've got to go to the Scottish joint today for dinner. Um, how's the spanakopita? There it is. Add to cart. One. There we go. No thanks. And where's the tzatziki? There we go. Add. No thanks. All right. And check out. Yeah. Make sure they sprinkle some bacon on top of my bacon upon bacon sandwich. Yes, yes. I like the way you think there, Lady P. Good job. Full name, Brian Brink. Email is me@me.com. Phone number, wouldn't you like to know? Um, actually, I found that interesting. There were some vulnerabilities. Y'all can take a look at this. Uh, e there's vulnerabilities in news. Where was it? It was the 0 days in Google phones. If you're using apparently voice over LTE, um, or you're using Wi-Fi calling, you want to disable that if you're worried about that stuff. The the stories like, oh my god, the world is burning down and shit. It's like somebody has to target you. So unless your threat model involves knowing somebody's going to call you up and use this vulnerability to pwn your system, don't worry about it. Um, you know, Samsung has provided patches addressing the vulnerabilities, but not all patches will be available to all handsets immediately. Google is going to probably push out an out of band for my Pixel 6. But yeah, just a nice little update there for those of you who didn't realize that was a thing. Let me put that in the link in the show notes. We're still doing Golang, by the way, for those of you who might have showed up a little late here. I'm in the process of trying to order dinner for my fam. So we're going to pick it up. And we're going to pay with El Credicardo. I have the curse of being able to remember my credit card number by memory, including the 3-digit code, which hopefully I'm not sharing that with y'all online here. Good. Ha! Nope. Zip code. There we go. And I will add a 15% tip because I'm not an asshole. Finalize the order. Oh, that's what I get for There we go. Do that backwards. There we go. Make it happen. There we go. Yeah. All right. Don't save your credit card. God damn it. Firefox, for all of your privacy protections, you want me to save my credit card. No, CPO Parker. I will not. 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 6, 7, 5, 3, 0, 9, 9. Yeah. So, all right. Food's ordered. This is a great time for you all to get some food if you'd like to as well. When I got to be 43, I didn't realize that people eat early. And it's not because they're old, it's because they realize it's going to take them for a long time to digest things. And if you go to bed with a full tummy, it tends to not work well for you. So that's why we eat super early. All right. So what we're going to do is the value 1, OK1, and then the walrus of A brand. So this is almost like, you know, in math, you had when you were doing like functions where it was like 3 times 2 plus 4 or something like that. Or no, that's not correct. It was like differential equations or something, like when you had, you know, what is that? Where you had to multiply 3. Oh no, factorials. That was a 2. Yeah, 2x plus minus 2. And then when you evaluated this, it was like 6x minus 6. And that's, you know, because you had to multiply 3 into all of those sections. It feels kind of like that when you're talking about, you know, the values, brands, colors, days, models, etc. Okay, so I'm going to continue on. Oh, wait, 1 second. Move browser below VS Code here. All right. So moving right along, val1, OK1, walrus A brand. Okay, and close that, and then these are how you do existing key and its value. And then val2, OK2, walrusing it up real sweetly, A. And then checking for non-existing key. Oh, okay. And its value. So OK2 color, because color doesn't exist in the sets here. We originally had it set for color, but we got rid of it. So brand, model, year, day. So brand, it's going to do Ford. So yeah, it's existing key and value. Color, there's no key and no value, so it should come up false. Okay, so it's going to give us a Boolean, right? It's going to Boolean as false. Checking for existing key and its value. So day exists, but there's no value for day, so we'll and then model only checking for existing key and not its value. Interesting. Oh, I see. I see. That makes sense. Okay, so when you're doing key value pairs, you have to have the value and the key. I don't know why they call it OK. I would have said key 1, key 2, key 3, you know, value, key, value, key, value, key instead of val, oak, val, oak, val, oak. I'm just an asshole, I guess, because I like things a certain way. So val 3, OK3, walrusing, A, day, checking for existing key and its value. And then val 4, K4, God bless. A, and then model only checking existing key and not its value. And then, all right, so we know what all these do. Copy. Whoops, this is underscore. Remember, in Go, underscores mean pretty much ignore, right? So we're going to ignore the value and just look for the key of that. So the value of model, or the key of model, not the value of model, which is odd because the value of model is model, and the OK value would be Mustang, or the key value would be Mustang. Super weird. All right, so we're going to print val1 OK1, val2 and OK2, val3 OK3, and then just the key of 4 without the value. Because we are ignoring the value, we don't put the value in here. Okay. All right, we're going to do that. And then we're going to go cd ... cd maps 3. And then go run maps 3 go. So forward and true, false, true, true. Okay, so everything works. And why does that work? So val1 is Ford, so brand is Ford, and OK1 is a Boolean. Interesting. So it evaluates as a Boolean. Interesting. I like you can hover over it and it'll tell you looking for a string. Okay. All right. Let me go look at Golang maps. Okay. Yeah, apparently these are kind of set in stone. So those of y'all can see, it says here's how you check to see if a map contains a key. Okay is the value here. So I may have to go through Tutorial Edge's Golang as well. They've got a lot of what appears to be some excellent information, but they all say val and OK, so it's a thing, right? So Prince Sammy, FMT. The one thing you have to worry about with tutorials is, depending on the language, depending on what changes go into place, you have to look and make sure that these are legit and still valid. Like the Stack Overflow answers from 2015, which is 7 years old. This Go programming language says 2013, so it may or may not exist. I mean, Go appears to be better backward compatibility than things like Java, but you find a 10-year-old Java tutorial and use that code, depending on the changes that have happened with things like Java or Python or what have you. I mean, like the version 2.x of Python, you don't want to use it, right? So you're gonna potentially run into issues trying to use a 2.6 Java example in Python, or sorry, Python 2.6 version code in like Python 3. Let me and letting my Greek order. Okay. So yeah, I guess OK and val are I wouldn't call them constants, but it's like I wouldn't try using val1 or OK1 as a variable name, for instance. Make sure leave those alone. Those are specific to maps or to keys and key value pairs. So don't create OK1 equals something something because you may run into errors. So I mean, there's definitely variables in other programming languages that you don't want to use because they would represent a constant or they would represent um, you know specific things inside the programming language. I don't know all of them, and I'm sure somebody can help me understand that. Walt just started cleaning some old books, tossing Java 2 Java. um, I just saw a news article the other day in San Diego, as a matter of fact, weird. They were working on updating uh, C++, I think. C++. The latest version from those folks. Standards. Yeah, here it is, March 1st. They declared C++ 23 language feature complete. Can you imagine the amount of work needed to get a whole language like C++ to be feature complete? So yeah, is now feature complete with capabilities such as standard library module support on the horizon as the subsequent release dubbed C++ 26. So they're working 3 versions in advance. So 24 is like almost there. 25 is like a little less than there, and then 26 is like raw. So also oh wow. Um, Walt, you've got CGI and Perl books. Do you have the Camel still? You have Camel? I remember people used to call it Camel because that was one of the more well known O'Reilly books. You just have to call it Camel, and it's like everybody knows. Yeah, Programming Perl, 1991. That was like one of the yeah. I had one. I had this one as a matter of fact. Um, yep, 3-year cycle, only once every 3 years. So per C++ 24 will be out in 2026. So we should expect 26 C++ 26 to be out in sometime in the early 2030s. Yeah. I'd imagine the camel would be worth something if Larry Wall had signed it or something like that. But yeah, I read this the other day, and the first thing I thought of was Lady P because she's solid on the programming languages. So um, anyway, so we're gonna continue on. So the key color does not exist in the map, so it's an empty string. 23 is currently, the next is 26. So Walt, is 23 like the LTS version for Ubuntu, like 22 and 20, and like so 21 is considered like the one you can update or whatever. So you have 20 and 22, and then named for years, not versions. Oh, huh. Oh, all right. I did not know that. Well, they got it in under the wire then, I guess. So the next version of C++ will be 2026's version. Okay, that's not bad. 3-year sprint, I guess. It's not a bad thing. Um, so let's see. Okay, Val. Yeah. Okay, so maps are references. Oh, yes. Just messaged Maggie. Probably under name Brian. That would bite. All right, so package name. So if 2 map variables refer to the same hash table, changing the content of one variable affects the content of the other. Well, yeah, sure. Why not? I mean, that makes sense logically. Um, Let's see, var a map string. So we have brand, model, year. So Ford Mustang 1964. B. Okay, so so B is walrus of A. So you're so okay, so instead of typing all of this over again, you've basically made B equal to A. So you've created a new map with the same values as from A to B. Which okay, so in this case, oh right, and so yeah, looking at the results down here, so you have print A and print B, so they should be exactly the same because you basically copy pasted A's into B's values. Um, so at this point, you have B year. So I want to change only B's year to 1970. Oh, but according to this, what they're saying down here is it'll actually, oh, so it's not it's almost like a shortcut, right? So, um, all right, one sec. Okay, so I'm getting my head around this, which makes sense. All right, so we're gonna go back up here. Folder, maps 4, and then file, maps 4 go. I think they are gone for the day. All right, so we're gonna analyze this, and I'm going to, all right, so what we have is format main function. So we have this, so we have this as the map. And so we didn't duplicate it. It's not a separate map. It is almost like B is a shortcut to A now. So it's not, it's not like this. It's not this, right? When we create when we tell B equal to A, or so B is a shortcut to A. So we call, I'm going to remove this one just so we don't confuse ourselves, or myself in this case. So when we print A and we print B, we're going to get the same thing over again because A is this and B points to A, which then it's going to just print A again, basically. But when I go, I'm going to change B. So B's year to 1970, because B is really just a shortcut to A. It's going to change both of them regardless. I wonder if there's a way to change only B and keep only B without having, I'd imagine what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to create a new map with those values, or copy those values into B so that way you have a separate data store. After change to B, and then what you see is you're going to see like what it says down here. So that makes sense. Now that I've talked through it, it would have been, if I hadn't looked at the result down here, I would have ran this thinking, well, it's going to change B's version, but yeah, this is the same hash table is what they're calling it, which is new to me. So these are the hash tables, and yeah, so you're doing that. Anybody have any questions so far? I know we're not, burning down Twitter with all of our viewers, but most of you it's probably old hat, and I appreciate everybody's input here, because as I'm learning myself, that'll be good. All right, so we have iterating over maps. You can use range to iterate over maps. This example shows how to iterate over the elements in a map. Note the order of the elements in the output. Okay, so we have package main, import FMT. A is going to walrus out a map with the integers 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we're going to ask for K and V, walrus range A. Interesting. So, no, it didn't do it alphabetically this time. Why is it doing that? Let's see. We have %V is the, so let's go back to data types. That's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for outputs. Okay, so %v prints the value in the default format. Okay, so that's all that does. Okay. %v to %v. So %v is the value. So it's looking for the value. It's not going to print out the integer or whatever. So the value of the key, or the value of the value, and the value of the key. So the value of the value is 3. The value, or the key, is 3. So that's why we get those. And we're going to print k and v. What is k and v in this case? Or k and v. So we have two variables, and we're having a range. Note the order of the elements in the output. 2, 3, 4 is 4, 1 is 1. Okay, and then you can specify your order, your maps in a specific order. So this is where you're going to get 1, 2, 3, 4, or 2, 3, 4, 1. Why? Okay, so go range maps Golang. Is there a way to get a list of all the keys? Okay, so M. They're doing the KV thing again. Play.golang.org or whatever. Go specs. First value is the key. The second variable is the value, but it doesn't have to be present. I'm not quite understanding here. I don't know why it would be in that value or in that vein, right? Why would it output in this way versus some other way? I don't understand. Is there more information in the try it yourself? No. You're defining the order. Okay, so none of this existed in the previous example. Format printf. Yeah, none of that existed in the previous sample. You're defining the order, you're looping with no order. So that's why we got 2, 3, 4, 1 for the first one. That would be this here. And we print that. And then that's really weird. So if anybody has any answers there on why this formatted the way it did, instead of, in this specific order or alphabetical like it would have, which should have been 4, 1, 3, 2 in this case, I'd love to hear it. So you can range to iterate over maps. So, okay, great. Because it's not even in value order, like 1 is 1, 2, 3, 4, or 4, 3, 2, 1, like you're wanting greatest to least or least to greatest. No alphabetical order. Iterate over maps in a specific order. Maps are unordered data structures. Okay, but it's interesting how if they're unordered data structures, Go is automatically defaulting to a specific ordered structure. So that's kind of interesting. You need to iterate over a map in a specific order. You must have a separate data structure that specifies that order. Okay, so I understand that. So you have to create a special map just so that it will define itself in a specific order. So we have our function main, we have our map string int 1, 2, 3, 4. We're defining the order. We want to append 1, 2, 3, 4 to all right. I'm not going to make a new one here because I don't know how much more we've got. Okay, this is the last example that we have. All right, so I'm going to get rid of that. All right, so we have, make sure that this is all the same. We're going to just A, Walrus. Map string int. Should have just rewrote it from scratch, huh? Let's see. One, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4. And then we get rid of that extra bit there. So var b equals string, and so we're defining the order, and then b equals append. So we're doing some CRUD operations. So the append built-in function appends elements to the end of a slice. If it has sufficient capacity, the destination is resliced to accommodate the new elements. If it does not, a new underlying array will be allocated. Append returns the updated slice, therefore it is necessary to store the result of an append, often in the variable holding the slice itself. Okay. So we have B, 1, 2, 3, 4. Maps use a hash map implementation that allows of O1 looks at the cost of the elements being stored in a none order fashion. Right. So Walt, do not want to be blunt here, but you're telling me that explains why it put this in this order instead of the original order, which would have been alphabetical order? I mean, every other order that we had here was alphabetical, and I don't know if that's because that's by design or that's just how the cookie crumbles in this case. But all of a sudden, using range, we're not alphabetical anymore, and I don't see anything in here that would, maybe that's just my ignorance here, but there's nothing here that's telling me, hey, this changes. Having range in here changes the numbers. Most maps are not created in a sorted order, so to keep them sorted would require that they be sorted on every insert. My next question is, how often do you use maps? I feel like I'm the high schooler going like, you're never going to use that in the real world, man. Yeah. So, and it sounds like this is a lot of work to just order your maps in a specific order. Like, but it feels like they're putting this in here for a reason, and I just don't know what that is yet. Very often. Great. At some point, I'll have to grok the hell out of this. I just don't know. It will not be this day. Depends on the problem. Loop with no order. Well, that's for damn certain, isn't it? If y'all came in here, thinking, oh, cool, we're going to learn how to use Go, and this guy is like all in on using the Go's, you're going to learn very quickly that, I got to understand this stuff or I'm going to, talk shit about it. So if you're a Go disciple or whatever it is, it's just an interesting thing that comes up. So, oh, I pooched it right there. That should have been lots of things become simpler and faster with maps. So what you're saying, Walt, is I shouldn't just I shouldn't question why it's outputting it the way it is. I should just let it do its thing and, go on, because I don't truck with that. Don't question it. Just let it be, bro. Welcome, Alex Dev. Oh my goodness. Thank you for coming and hanging out, Alex Dev. Nobody's ever accused me of being a developer, so point of pride for me, I think. Range B, and then we're gonna You're messing with the order. There we go. FMT print F percent V percent V element A element. All right, so I've created that, and I've created that, and I created that. All right, Control S. There we go. All right, we've saved it. Maps for go, and cd dot dot slash maps for. Yes, thank you, Alex Dev, for coming and hanging out. Oh, by the way, I have not mentioned E. Wiggins. Thank you so much for following, as well as Hayes Anderson. Appreciate you coming and hanging out and following our little stream here. For those of you interested, Sunday night, Miss Berlin has given me a thumbs up when I said, hey, we should record a podcast on Sunday. So we're going to do some BreakSec podcast stuff on Sunday. If you got news items you'd like to bring up, please feel free to hit them up in the Discord. I don't know how long the Discord vanity plate will last. So far, it's still working, so I don't know when we're going to lose that, but it's one of the things of having level 3 Nitro for Discord, and we don't have that after a certain amount of time. So, all right, so I'm going to run maps 4.go, and I pooched it. So in line 10, I must have messed something up. Let's see. Or maybe the line before it. Map string int 1 comma space 2 comma space 3 comma 4. All right. Var b equals string, and we're defining the order. All right. B equals append B1 2 3 4. Okay. Did I do something else wrong? Let me double check the top here. Package main format main. Yeah. All right. It says string type is not an expression. So this is interesting, because I'm using the line that it told me to in the, oh, you know what? I'm wondering, is that a, all right, so how do I fix the problem? String may be empty but not nil. Values of string type are immutable. This is interesting. So I'm running into an issue where it works according to, because I typed this in, so this is not one of the lines that I did originally. String type is not an expression. No fixes available. Oh, there's no equals. Is that what it is? Well, see here they're saying equals. So technically, is that an error? Is that a bad piece of code? this should not be correct. This should not have evaluated as correct because over here they've removed the equal sign. I found a bug. Anyway, I know it's okay. All right, so this is an error. So if you're typing this up on the screen, get rid of the equal sign because in the version of Go that I'm using, which is 1.20.2, whatever the latest version is as of, if you're watching this in the future, it's 17 March, St. Patrick's Day. So 2023, you have to take the equals out because it's going to get ugly. So I should be able to do it now. There we go. Yep. So the equal sign is bad. Take the equal sign out, y'all. This may have been, there's no telling when this was written. Or again, my caveat to, a tutorial on Go. This may have been introduced in like after the fact. And it's like, oh, well, we don't want people putting an equal sign on a null string area. So, if you get compiler errors, this is one of the reasons why you wouldn't want to, necessarily copy paste code in. Your versions of Java may not allow you, or your versions of Go may not allow you to do these things. If you tried to copy this and put it in, you would get an error, and it would be like, well, why? And you didn't know enough about Go, you wouldn't know that this was an actual issue. So, just a heads up there from everybody. It's going to, okay. So in this case, it did exactly as we did before when I'm still railing about why it did this for range. So, range A, and it shows you 2, 3, 4, 1. No one knows why. The idea with maps is items are stored in a group of buckets. Okay. At least you're not using cars on me there, Walt. I appreciate the use of buckets. As you add items, they are stored in one of several buckets. Think about putting books on a bookshelf. Oh, you went from buckets to bookshelves and cases. You're making me hurt. No, I'm just kidding. Think about putting books on a bookshelf where you leave spaces for future books. Okay. All right, I got that. The order changes as you add more books. Right. You could have said CD collections too. When I had a CD collection that I just got rid of about 300 of them. I should have put spaces in there, but I didn't, and that made me have to manually move all of them. But I take your point. The order changes as you add more books and use the empty spaces. It makes sense under the hood, but there are complex computer science things going on under the hood. So basically, you're telling me just don't question it and let it happen. That's what I'm hearing. It's not a bad thing. It's just I don't have a computer science degree, and when I am, when something doesn't logically make sense to me, I'm going to question it. So as long as that's fine, I'm okay with that. As long as I'm not doing anything incorrect here, that's fine. That's fine. So what ends up happening is it's interesting because it puts a comma at the end of the last one there. I'm sure that's because I'm adding it here, and it's going to add that regardless. But so the what I'm wondering about is the B. So the B is the string defining the order, and you're appending. So you're appending 1, 2, 3, 4. So you're actually setting the order here. So if I wanted to make this, if I wanted to move these around and put them in alphabetical order, I would have to manually do this. There's nothing that says, okay, take all of the hash table, jumble the key value pairs up, and put it in an alphabetical order. I have to manually define that order by putting it in here in this append command. The append command says I'm modifying the value of the books in this case. I think what gets me, Walt, is I put it in a specific order up here, and if I print it out, it's not going to print it out in that same order. I kind of expect the key value pairs to be in the same order. The fact that I have to then again come down here and create another map, which is another area of memory. I'm imagining I'm hoping that maps are not, gluttons for memory, but I have to create yet another one that says, okay, I've got a hash table. Make this exactly like that. Um, you know, define the order in the second map instead of, anyway. I won't harp on it too much, but I appreciate the comment, Walt. Um, yeah, I just think that there's some work need to be done there to make it more user friendly. Okay, so that is it for everything in the Go tutorial on W3 schools. And for those of you who've been following along with me, um, you know, huzzah! You've gotten to the end with me, and probably less than a few headaches or what have you. There are libraries that support ordered storage for many map uses. Printing the whole map is a rare situation. Oh, okay. Okay, so thank you. I appreciate that, Walt. I figured so you're gonna pop these things in. Um, it makes that makes sense where you may not know all of the things in there. It would make sense for you to have to wait a minute. So there are libraries that support ordered storage and mini map uses. Printing the whole map is a rare situation. How do you know what's in the map then if you can't print the whole map to understand what's in it? Or being able to pull, if you put in 5 new values, how are you going to know what's in there unless you iterate through it or know? I mean, you're just going to know, or is the system smart enough to actually parse that out for you? As you can tell, this is a 100 level course, so don't expect 200 level stuff from me yet. So there are various exercises you can do with W3 schools. I'm probably going to take a departure and come over to the tutorial edge stuff because one of the things that I wanted to do was understand things like how to set up an API. You read the map with one key you want. Okay. So what I was looking for was an easy way to create an API from scratch. And the more and more I read, the more and more I realize this is a pipe dream because a lot of there we go. Developers like them some sameness, and to be fair, I do too. So I'm gonna go ahead and close this bad boy. I did learn a few things doing this Golang tutorial. One, having everything in one place is great. Having it in one place for multiple computers is better than great. So I was saving all of those Go scripts to my Google Drive, and then I was committing them from Google Drive to my GitHub. I learned how to use GitHub. I learned how to, add workspaces to my VS Code. So I have like a handful of them here that I can use. I learned how to get, commit, and sync. So these were all initial. Yeah, and I'm trying to do my best to actually do initial, change logs, initial files, something like that, and then I, commit and sync. So I'm not going to be breaking anything if I commit and sync myself. But I have different repos. I've learned how to set up my repos. I learned how to enable all of that. Beforehand, in the before times, I was using Atom.io, which I've heard is on the road to deprecation. So VS Code is what I've been using so far in terms of writing code, writing Markdown, writing documentation, what have you. There's a number of things up there for that. I found there are style sheets for Markdown, which is pretty awesome. So when I do documentation of things, I can keep track of that. So I've learned more than just how to do Golang in this case. I've actually learned a little bit of the tools of the trade for what I need. It's not scary. Everybody uses their own version. There's a couple of people who stream on Twitch that use VI for their IDE, and more power to them, I guess. I found using Google Drive to keep track of my projects, so that way if I blow away my computer or I lose my computer, then I always have those updated in Google Drive, and they're always available to me. Yep, I'm thinking our painters left for the weekend, or at least left for the day. Future, tutorials and things like that. We'll be probably doing. I actually want to try to walk through some of the. This talks. This is from. Oh God, this is from 2017. Maybe it's not the best one to use. All right. Well, let's go do a search. Golang API REST API 2023. Building a RESTful CRUD API with Golang in 2023. Well, this one's from October 2nd, 2022. So it might be a little easier. So they have prerequisites. Before continuing with this tutorial, you'll need the following: VS Code as an IDE for this project. Check. Familiarity with Golang. PG admin. Ew. They're going to make me want to use PG SQL, aren't they? Ugh. I was hoping to use, something. Oh, God. Okay. I wanted lightweight, and Docker Compose and all that bullshit in here is just not feeling it for me. Let me see. You know what? Let's get rid of the 2023. I used VS Code and VI both in my work today. Yeah, I use VI. I never got into that holy war between VI and Emacs. My whole thing was when I started on Solaris 7, and then Solaris 8, Solaris 9, and Slackware, and Red Hat Linux, and what else? Fedora, and did a little SGI Linux or SGI Unix. VI was always there. I never had to worry about if Emacs was installed on the system or what have you. I don't want to use a framework. Simply Learn. Is it? Okay, so this was last updated on the 28th. And this is from Abhishar Ahuja. Ahuja? Sorry, Abhisar. Abhisar. Yeah, sorry, Abhisar. So we'll scroll down through here. Prerequisites: basic familiarity, latest Go and Christ. Seriously, people. MySQL is filthy. It's even worse. I'd rather use PG SQL at this point. Have a basic understanding of RESTful APIs. Well, that may be our next lesson, folks, is understanding how a RESTful API works. You'll need to visit inside your Go path, the directory where your Go projects will be kept. The Go path was established with the installation of Go. Inside, you'll find 3 folders: bin, package, and source. In the source folder, create a new folder called GitHub. Yeah, I didn't do any of that. I created these separately. I didn't want to. Considering every time you upgrade Go, it asks you to uninstall that, I don't know if I want to put that in the source folder. I'm not sure I want to do that. Yeah, no, I'm not feeling that. Dev.to. Popular choice, API, simplicity, simplicity. Fast compilation times, excellent support for concurrency. We will cover fundamental concepts and best practices for building REST APIs with Golang, as well as provide step-by-step instructions for creating a fully functional API. Okay, cool. So, principles of REST. Okay, so there we go. This one doesn't look awful. So join me, peoples. Dev.to. So we're going to look through. Golang is a popular choice for building web applications. And oh, I read all that. Whether you're a beginner, yeah. Nowadays, it's essential for business to design its web software as a modular system, right? Little story. Back in 2000, we had a guy. His name was Kim, and he was building. That's his first name. Was building Perl, and that's Walt made me remember the that. I think I've talked about this before, but he was building a dynamic website in 2001, when there were no dynamic websites. He had little portlets, which were basically like iframes, but they would be updating dynamically based on what Perl was doing, and it was pretty cool stuff. And I think it was probably ahead of its time, especially for the Navy, which is what he was building it for. It was pretty cool. Um, and I don't want to say this was before the API, but the history. I looked that up. The history of the API. I think the first one was Salesforce. Salesforce's first god awful API. This is the link I found. The history of the API is actually 2004. So Kim, if I could remember his name, was trying to develop something similar in 2001, almost 3 years previous. If he'd had an API then, this would have been no problem. But of course, back then it was Firefox was called Firebird, and it was like 0.5, and it was like Chrome wasn't even invented yet, and everything was either using Netscape or IE 6 or 7, I think at that time. 7 may have been the new hotness. So APIs got their start by putting the commercial in com.com, powering the vision of emerging commerce startups to look for ways to change how we do business on the web. They took advantage of this new medium to make products and services available to customers via a single website, and ensure partners and third-party resellers could extend the reach of their platforms. So began the push to automate much of the commerce that was powering the web. Yes. Oh, February. Okay, 2000. All right. So Salesforce launched its API, Application Programming Interface, in February 7th of 2000 at the IDG Demo Conference. This introduced an enterprise-class web-based Salesforce automation Internet as a service. Oh, XML APIs were a fundamental part of how Salesforce did business from day one. eBay on 2000. Okay, so he wasn't that far behind. Maybe he had heard about it or something. So yeah, he was trying to do like big boy stuff. Salesforce, eBay, Amazon. eBay launched the eBay Application Program Interface API along with eBay Developer Program. These were originally rolled out to only a select number of licensed eBay partners and developers, but ultimately shifted how goods are sold on the web. I used eBay quite a bit in 2000 and 2001. So built a computer from that, as a matter of fact. Amazon launched Amazon.com web services. I've been an Amazon shopper since 2000 because they were the only website or reseller at the time that would ship to FPO APO, which was the Asia Pacific region for me. This allowed developers to incorporate Amazon.com content and features into their own websites and let third-party sites search and display products from Amazon in an XML format. So everything was using XML at the time. I don't know when JSON came about, but XML was the de facto format for that. You had XSLT, which was style sheets for XML files, kind of like how Markdown has style sheets you can use. So that's interesting. So there's a whole discussion here talking about how everything became social. 2007, 2006 Google Maps, Foursquare in 2009, Instagram in 2010. Instagram's almost old enough. No, another 5 years and it'll be old enough to vote. Twilio. I don't know what Twilio is. That's old. Mobile Evolution made APIs what they are today. So, okay. Awesome. Okay, and then you've got IoT and all that shit now. So, fun times. grab that. I'm going to bookmark that. That way I have that. So the principles of REST. So as a client server, communication should be directed from client to server, and server should process the request and send a response back. So that's the client server model. That is the lifecycle communication round for REST API. Uniform interface. This means the URI should identify a resource and give access to manipulate the state of that resource. Also, it should respond with a self-descriptive message. Okay. Stateless. This means no information should be stored on the application layer whatsoever. It's responsibility of the data layer, which is represented by data storage systems like databases, file systems, cloud storage providers, etc. Yeah, so it's like the 3-layer model, right? You have the presentation area or the web front end UI, then you have the middleware, and then you have, or the application layer, and then you have the data layer in the end. So everything should be stored in databases, file system, cloud storage providers, nothing in the application layer, and everything should be called from the web UI down directly to and pull back and forth. At least that's how I understand it. There is, let me see, REST API YouTube. Yeah, here you go. I don't want this playing. Turn off the audio on this. God damn, it's huge. Come on, man. There we go. Yeah. Okay, great. Web concepts. That's good enough. Okay. You can go here if you want to read more about APIs. There we go. Including things like Docker, Ajax, asynchronous JavaScript. I forget what Ajax, asynchronous JavaScript, and XML. Okay, yeah, okay. Makes sense. Cacheable, I think the name speaks for itself, but I'll repeat. This is means that when a resource is accessed once, it should be stored on a faster read layer for faster serving and not accessing the entire infrastructure for repeating requests. And layered means that components within an application should have a single responsibility on how to process data and handle data based on its purpose. Again, it's like the 3-layered model. Is like the web does the presentation, the application layer does all the collecting of that information, and the data layer stores the data. You don't have data stored in the application layer, like it said, or you don't have the web UI stored in the database or whatever. Everything has a single function, and it works that way. Having that in mind, we can proceed to create the boilerplate for our REST API. Okay. And since we're going to do it in Go, then that's pretty good. So what I'll do is I'll probably create for the next bit. I'll create a specific one for Golang. I may actually just clear all this stuff out because most of this is going to be garbage anyway. So goodbye, cruel world. Yeah, sure, why not? Oh no! Goodbye. Poof. Actually, I will undo this one. I will undo that. Discard those changes. Yes, restore that file. Everything else goes. That's right. I commit and sync. Boom. There we go. Oh, whoops. The one thing that gets me is sometimes you don't put a commit message in, this thing pops up over here and I don't exactly know what they want to do with it. So go over here, delete, and then we commit and sync. There we go. Oh, sounds like everybody's home. You know what? I think it's probably a good time to stop. So I'm going to go next. I know I'm almost done. Next Friday, Lord willing, the creek don't rise. We'll be back. We'll continue on our discussions with APIs. We'll actually try to create an API and see how far we get on that. And hope everyone has a good time and some fun with that. Go and grab your IDE. We're actually gonna get into the real stuff. So do not be surprised if I want to like go down a rabbit hole and talk about and understand like where packages are sitting and other things. So and this may not be the only tutorial we need. So if anybody has any ideas for better tutorials, please post them up in our chat on our Discord, which I posted up earlier. Thank you, Alex Dev, for coming, E. Wiggins, Hayes Anderson, all them. And I'm going to go and enjoy a nice weekend in Seattle and not have to pack for the first time in 4 weeks. So hope everyone has a good weekend. And yeah, I'll talk to you all real soon. Thank you so much. Bye.